This is Kim Newlove, host of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. Thank you for joining me for episode 104. If you're new to this show, welcome. I alternate solo shows and interview shows. The solo shows are about my career change from pharmacist to voice actor. And my interview shows feature a variety of people who use their voices to advocate for something, educate in some way, or entertain. My website is thepharmacistvoice.com. After a very noisy 4th of July holiday, I thought noise might be a good topic for the podcast today. For anyone not from the US, the July 4th holiday can be a noisy one. Communities pay big bucks to pyrotechnic companies to shoot off fireworks. Those displays then have a domino effect. Homeowners display their own fireworks for hours after the city fireworks. I live in Northwest Ohio. Our city fireworks were 10 o'clock on July 3rd. That was Saturday. And people were setting off their own fireworks past 2 a.m. in my neighborhood. It was noisy. Noise pollution, audio landmines. Those are all great words to describe the unwanted sounds that I don't want in my audio when I record projects. Fireworks definitely produce unwanted noise. Producing clean audio is important to my clients, so it's important to me. When I first started recording projects, I didn't know just how important it was. Now I know. But how did I find out? Well, coaches and audio engineers have pointed out my flaws over the years, I must say. Plus, I've learned about noises other people struggle with by reading comments in Facebook groups and from talking with other voice actors. I learned about pitfalls to avoid, and I appreciate it. Today, I'll talk about the many noises that I ride the struggle bus with so that you understand the challenges that narrators and voice actors face. If you are not a narrator or a voice actor, you may still find value in this episode. Maybe you're a podcaster, an online course creator, or somebody who presents content another way online, like maybe being a speaker at an online conference. You might find this episode eye-opening and then change your recording environment or your practices for the better. I had no idea the audio landmines that stood between me and meeting client expectations until I got my hands dirty and learned the ropes. Maybe I can save you a headache by sharing what I have learned. Podcasts are different. I try to give myself a lot of grace about noises when I'm recording my podcast. After all, this is my little creation. It's not for a client. There's a school of thought out there that podcast recordings have to have perfect audio. I have listened to many podcasts with noise or less than perfect audio quality, and I found the value provided by the host to be just as good as podcasts that sound clean. But there are some podcasts with such horrible audio quality that I have to abandon ship and find something else to listen to. Poor audio quality turns listeners off. Let me say that again. Poor audio quality turns listeners off. I know it turns me off. Now, let's talk about some noises. When noises are recorded along with my voice, they're distracting. It can be hard to concentrate on what I'm saying when you can also hear noise. Which noises do I struggle with? Well, some noises come from my body. That's right. And others come from things I wear. Vehicles create noise. Mother Nature does too. Machines outside my home make noise. Some noises come from inside my house. Noises also come from my computer, critters, and some unexpected places. We'll get into all of that right now. Let's start with noises that come from my body. I bet I've got you curious. I don't intend to make these noises. They just happen. Mouth noises are the worst, but they happen. I'm talking about dry mouth sounds. No matter how much water you drink or how many lozenges you use, dry mouth sounds just happen. Also, mouth noises include clicks, pops, and tisk noises, like this. You open your mouth and your tongue just goes to the roof of your mouth. It's a tisk noise. Usually it can be edited out. The bottom line is, no one wants to hear those. They're distracting. What other noises come from my body? My stomach growling. And if it's loud enough, it gets into my audio. What else? Sibilants. That's an S noise. S's can be trouble. Sometimes I let out a whistling S, and it really sticks out. Plosives can be a problem too. P's and B's too close to the microphone are very noticeable. I'm going to try to do one. Pop. Peanut butter. Pooh Bear ate some peanut butter. It's almost like the air from the P and the B goes right into the microphone and it creates a pop. What else? Wet F's. Okay, have you ever made a wet F? You didn't mean to, but you're trying to say the word flood and it just comes out like that? It's a problem. Nobody wants to hear that. So you have to do it over. What other noises come from my body? Burps, loud breaths, and, oh wait, hold on, this is my husband's problem, snoring. Wait, what? Snoring? Well, here's the thing. My husband snores. He has to be up for work before 5 a.m., so he goes to bed early. If I try to work late, I can't. He's in bed snoozing. Other voice actors have encouraged me to work late at night when the kids are asleep and there are fewer noises in my neighborhood, but I just can't. Because of where my recording space is located, I'll wake everybody up, and my husband's snoring will get into my audio. That sums up a lot of the noises that come from my body, or my husband's body. Well, what helps? Well, some sounds like dry mouth and clicks can be edited out in post-production. There's something called Isotope RX8. It's audio repair software. It really helps. I do drink a ton of water and use lozenges, but I still have some mouth noise. It happens. How about this Isotope RX8 software? Well, I learned about it from Don Baarns. He has a course on learning how to use it. It's called RX Jumpstart. I believe you can find it at rxjumpstart.com. I'll leave a link in the show notes. My batch of tools that I use in RX are EQ, declick, mouth declick, and voice denoise. If you don't know what those are, that's totally fine. Hiring an audio engineer is very helpful. That's what I did for the last audiobook that I just finished in May. Unfortunately, stopping and doing things over is sometimes the only way to deal with noise. If my stomach growls on a recording, for example, I can't separate that from my voice. I have to re-record it. Sometimes, noises come from things that I wear. For example, jewelry and clothing. Right now, I'm going to wiggle my rings around, see if you can hear it. It makes like a little clinking noise. So how do you deal with it? You take all your jewelry off before you record, and you wear what I call quiet clothing. I actually have a pair of pants that I call my narrating pants because they're so quiet. Any clothing that swishes is unwelcome. I talk with my hands, so if I'm wearing a shirt that swishes around, something silky, that's not good. In summary, take the jewelry off and wear quiet clothing. What's next? Noise that comes from vehicles outside my house is one of my greatest enemies. Let's talk about garbage trucks. Thursday is garbage day, so Thursday is my worst day to record. I know this, so I avoid recording on Thursdays. At least 4 garbage trucks come through at different times during the day. They are loud. There is one for trash, one for recyclables, one for lawn waste, and one for large items. I know, I'm lucky to have this service, I get it. But still, these 4 trucks are loud. They come by at unpredictable times and they interrupt me. It's annoying. I live at the entrance to a cul-de-sac, so I just have to wait for the truck to finish both sides of the street and go away, and then I'm fine. Imagine 4 times a day, it takes about 20 minutes for these trucks to get out of my life. It's just frustrating. The mailman also creates noise. I live in a subdivision. My mailman drives a truck, and it sounds like his truck has no muffler. Are all mail trucks like this? Maybe, I don't know. But it's loud. No one wants to hear my mailman circling the neighborhood in the background of a recording. Traffic also creates noise. I'm talking about honking and shouting. My street usually isn't bad, but you get a bunch of teenagers horsing around after school, and they are loud. Car engines and motorcycle engines can be loud too. School buses are especially loud. Air traffic is noisy, definitely noisy. Commercial airplanes, helicopters, and military fighter jets. Thank you sincerely for your service, but I just don't want the sound of your jet in my audio. What else is noisy? Snowplows with their blades to the ground in the winter. I live in Ohio, we get quite a bit of snow, and that sound really rumbles when they drive past. Car stereos are loud too. The vibration from the bass, especially, makes my blood boil. I can't work when the noise is in the background. If I were on a recorded call with a client, they could hear that, and we'd have to stop. One last thing, delivery trucks can be loud. I usually have to stop recording when they drive through or when they back up. You know that beep, beep, beep? It's really loud and intrusive. Noise from vehicles can be one of my greatest enemies, but there are things that help. I can stop and wait until they're done. Waiting works, right? I can also find the patterns. I know every Thursday is going to be garbage day. I just avoid recording that day unless I absolutely have to. School buses, kids playing in the street, teenagers with loud cars driving by, and so on are, to a point, kind of predictable. It all happens when school lets out. I just have to arrange my day around that noise. It's the same thing with jets and the mailman. I know that from 9:30 to 10:45 in the morning, I'm going to get a lot of noise from jets and the mail truck. Sometimes it's best not to even get started. But if it's a podcast, I usually just stop and go because these solo podcasts are usually pretty short. There are plenty of noises from Mother Nature, too. You have thunder, a crack of lightning, maybe the air raid siren's going to announce a tornado. If there's a storm or an air raid siren, I wait it out. Who wants to record something during a tornado? Not me. Noise also comes from machines that are used outdoors. Chainsaws and tree chippers are loud, okay? I have to stop until they leave. Lawnmowers kill me from spring until fall. They're loud. The sound gets into my audio. It doesn't stop until the winter, and then the snowplows and the snowblowers come. I can't win. And leaf blowers are the kiss of death. They are a useful tool, don't get me wrong, but they're a real showstopper in my business. Once somebody fires a leaf blower up, I can't record. Noise also comes from weed whackers and air compressors. Maybe somebody's doing some remodeling. They're getting a new roof. There's a nail gun. Or somebody's power washing their deck. Those air compressors are loud. You know what else is loud? The blade of a saw. When my neighbors remodel, they're hammering, they're drilling, they're sawing, and it all leaks into my audio. These machines are challenges, but what helps? Stopping and waiting till it's done is always an option. Actually, there's really nothing else that I can do when machines are being used outside. I have plenty of voice actor friends, by the way, who post pictures of stuff on social media that prevent them from working. We all know it can be hard. Noises inside the home are a problem too. I can't record near appliances, okay? My recording space isn't even near them anyways. But just for anybody listening, don't record near a washer, a dryer, a dishwasher, a TV, or small appliances like the microwave, a blender, or a garbage disposal. They're just loud. Lights that hum also create noise. I actually use a lot of rechargeable LED lights. They're very quiet. When I record, the garage door cannot go up and down. That's too noisy. My recording space is actually right next to a shower, so I can't let anybody shower while I'm recording. Toilets flushing is noise. I'm not the only one who lives here, and nature does call, so we all have to work together. I've got all kinds of examples of noises that happen in the home. For example, unwelcome interruptions, right? The space where I record podcast interviews is right next to the only printer in our house. Guess what happens? Sometimes, someone decides to print something while I'm podcasting. Maybe that person comes in to pick up the printout, too. It happens. My guests are all very nice. They wait, we redo things. It happens. If I were recording an audiobook, I don't think I'd be so glib about it. Video games are also noisy. Not only are they loud, but the sound actually travels through my vents and it gets to where I am when I'm recording in my dedicated space for audiobook and other narrations. I have a 16-year-old son that loves to play video games with friends. He brings them over, and not only are they loud, but the sound from them travels through my vents too. I love that they're having fun, yelling and cheering, but I can't get quality audio when they're doing that. There's no way. Just a few more noises that are inside the house. The heating and air conditioning unit hums, right? Nobody wants to hear that in the background. People sometimes open and close doors, especially slamming the microwave. I have hungry teenage boys. It seems like they're always eating something. Two more examples here. Chairs scraping across a tile or wooden floor. That causes noise, for sure. And the last one, footsteps across a tile floor or a wooden floor. They're noisy. I don't want that in my audio. All of those are noises inside the home that are a problem. But what helps? For one thing, I stay behind a closed door in an acoustically treated room. Plus, I ask my family not to do loud stuff in the house while I'm recording. If they don't know that I'm recording, how are they supposed to stop, I also recommend that they either hang out in the basement or just leave for a while I'm recording something important. It's not like I narrate for hours. It's usually like 45 minutes to an hour at a time. The next bit of noise that I'm going to talk about comes from my computers. Nobody wants to hear it. Keyboard clicks, mouse clicks, my fan turning on at unexpected times, and my backup machine. It's called a time machine. It actually sounds like Morse code when I'm recording and it's on. Nobody wants to hear that. These all seem like very preventable noises, right? So what helps? Well, for one thing, I don't touch my keyboard or my mouse while I'm recording. I purposely stop my audio track about 2 seconds after I stop speaking. What else do? I take a break when the fan on the computer comes on to cool the computer off. Some people actually remove their computer from their recording space. I like to have my computer right next to me. Personal preference. And when it comes to that computer backup machine, I just disconnect it before I press record. Otherwise, like I said, it sounds like Morse code in the background. Just a few more unwelcome noises that I want to share with you. Noises come from critters, right? Birds are outside chirping. It's the summertime. Hey, I live in Ohio near a kind of wooded area. There's owls hooting. Dogs are barking outside. I don't have any dogs inside the home right now, but if I did, who knows, they could bark while I'm recording. I don't want that sound in my audio. If you have a cat, perhaps you don't want your cat to meow while you're recording. Don't bring the cat into your recording space if your cat likes to meow. If you're a speaker for an online conference, I have an idea for you. If your cat can't be quiet, either remove the cat from your recording space, or people would probably enjoy seeing your cat, so pick up your cat. Let them have their 5 minutes of fame. And one more critter that I want to talk about. God help you if a fly is buzzing around your recording space. My friend Bill told me just today, he calls them sky raisins, and they're common house flies, right? They buzz around. And if they do, it can get into your recording. You gotta kill them. Buy a fly swatter. Okay, let's review. What are some things that help with critters? Number 1, don't record close to a window if there's a barking dog, an owl hooting, or birds chirping outside. Sound from those critters will travel through your window and get into your audio. If you have pets, just put them far away from where you're recording, and that'll help quite a bit. When I hear my neighbor's dogs barking, and when I say neighbor's dogs, I mean like 3 neighbors and about 8 dogs, I just stop for a bit. It's better to be safe than sorry. I wouldn't want to have to re-narrate a chapter if all of that barking got into my audio, and sometimes when you listen to your playback, you can hear it. When you're a narrator or you're recording audio that somebody's paying you for, you look at the world differently. Thankfully, all of these sounds don't happen all at once, but until you're aware of them, you actually don't hear them. Let me tell you a quick story. Once upon a time, a woman contacted me. She said she was interested in narrating audiobooks as an additional stream of income. She just wanted to know the basics about performance coaching, audio engineering, and the business of the business. I probably talked to her for like 15 minutes. In the background, I heard birds. A lot of birds. She had more than one noisy pet bird. They weren't outside, they were inside. I told her that the sound of the birds getting into her audio was going to be a problem. She actually had no idea. Now, if she were producing a podcast about birds, those sounds would actually complement her podcast. At any other time, though, they would have been a distraction. Let me just tell you about one more category of noises, and then we'll wrap this up. Noises also come from unexpected places. Like I said a little while ago, sound travels through windows. But what helps? Record in a windowless space. It makes a big difference. Go in a closet if you have to. Sound also travels through walls. People have a conversation in my home, and it carries through the walls or the vents, like I already talked about. What helps? First of all, I have to let people know that I'm recording so they know they either need to leave or stop talking. After all, it's only for a little while. Another unexpected noise: the chair that I sit on creaks sometimes when I move. What helps? I have to sit pretty still. Sometimes I hit my microphone stand, and it records a really big bump. I don't want to do it because when I do it intentionally, I worry about hurting my microphone. So I'm not going to do it, but I have done this on more podcasts than I care to admit. Sometimes just bumping my desk causes a big bump noise. What helps? Again, I have to sit still, and if it's for a paid project, I have to re-record. I feel like we're coming full circle with this next example. Fireworks at a baseball game can be heard for miles away. What helps? Well, if it's really getting into my audio, I just stop recording and wait it out. Like I said earlier, I usually don't record late at night, so this usually isn't a problem. I just want to give you 3 last examples of noises that come from unexpected places. Sometimes our neighbors have loud music playing. What helps? I either wait till they stop or I talk to them. It's as simple as that. Kids on a swing set with the metal on metal grinding sound or squeak, that can be an unexpected noise. The kids often make noise too, right? They're playing and they're laughing. What do? I either stop or I wait. And one last thing, really unexpected, that gets into my audio and I didn't know till I started recording. When someone bounces a basketball, it gets into my audio. I have to stop or take a break. I promise I am done listing places that noise comes from, but that gives you an idea. There's a lot, and again, it doesn't all happen at once. Not everything happens at once. The jets, the mailman, the garbage trucks, somebody bouncing a basketball. my son and his buddies playing video games, somebody slamming the microwave, somebody walking on a tile floor. I mean, really, this can't all happen at once. That would be unrealistic, right? But some noises, as you've heard, can be prevented. Some can be avoided. Some can be removed. It just depends on what we're talking about. I often wait for noise to pass. Some recommend recording at night or in the morning. That doesn't always work for me. I like to find a pattern to the noise in my life and just avoid it. If the local Air National Guard station always runs maneuvers at 9:26 a.m. every day, I just avoid recording at that time. Noise is annoying and it stresses me out. You can probably hear it in my voice. It lowers my productivity and it's distracting for the listener. I only have so much time in my day to audition for work, narrate paid projects, and record my podcast. If there's too much noise, I can't work. I literally cannot work. If I saved 45 minutes of my day to record something important, but that's also the same 45 minutes that my next-door neighbor chose to bust out his weed whacker, I'm doomed. I might as well pack up and find something else on my list of priorities to deal with. Again, not really complaining so much as I'm sharing what I've learned on my journey from pharmacist to voice actor so that you understand the problems that narrators and voice actors face with noise. And you might be able to use some of this information to help yourself. Let's talk about some things that help. I already mentioned a lot of things, like recording far, far away from windows, if you can. I record in a windowless room in the center of my house, and that room has been acoustically treated. What does that mean, treated? It means that there's fabric and sound-absorbing material on the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. Flat surfaces reflect sound. It bounces around and it echoes. Avoid flat surfaces. Do you want to do an experiment? Record something in your kitchen. All the flat surfaces in a wide-open, untreated space, like a kitchen, sounds a lot different from recording in a carpeted closet where there's a lot of sound-absorbing fabric around you. I have clothing, blankets, and sound-absorbing foam in my recording space. It works pretty good. Some people build a special recording space. They call it a booth. There are 2 booths that I can think of off the top of my head that are for purchase. One is called a whisper room. The other is called studio bricks. Whisper room and studio bricks. There are others out there. Just Google voiceover booth. I'll put links in the show notes. One other thing that helps is having a second set of ears, kind of like I did for the woman with the birds. Now, in the case of recording audiobooks, there are people out there called editors, proofers, and masterers. They can help. They listen for noises or mistakes, and they ask you to do things over when needed. We call the do-overs pickups. When it's all said and done, they master the project. That means that they make sure all the noises, the hum from the air conditioner, and all the other small imperfections are reduced to the point that they are no longer distracting. They can't do that with all the noises, but some they can. Plus, they make sure that the final product is as loud or quiet as the client requests. That's all very important. Let's wrap this up. This episode, for me, has been a little bit cathartic. I'm getting some stuff off my chest. I've learned a lot about noise during my career transition from pharmacist to voice actor. Clean audio sounds professional, and clients request it. The next time you listen to an audiobook or a professionally produced podcast, enjoy the audio engineering marvel that it is. There are no squeaky playground swings in the background. There are no dogs barking. There's no hum from an air conditioner. You can just focus on their voice and what they're saying. I care about creating clean, professional-sounding audio for clients. That's why I struggle with noise. I want to prevent noises from getting into my audio, and I want to remove the ones that I am able to remove. I've got a question for you. What noises do you struggle with on your recordings? Or what pet peeves about audio quality do you have? Feel free to reach out and let me know. You can contact me through my website, thepharmacistvoice.com. And if you're a content creator and you learned something from this episode, please share it with a friend. Post a screenshot to social media or share a link to this episode. I also have a listener feedback survey link in the show notes. Please fill out the survey so I can learn who you are, what you like about the show, and what you think I should change. The link will work through July 31st, 2021. Join me in 2 weeks for my next solo episode. I'll share with you what I learned from my review on the podcast review show with Dave Jackson and Eric K. Johnson in June 2021. Thank you for listening to episode 104 of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. Please visit thepharmacistvoice.com to subscribe and read the show notes.